Now, fireworks, barbecues, summer travel, just some of the things the 4th of July holiday is known for.
Travel for this July 4th, it's officially beginning this weekend. Now, more than 2 million people in North Carolina are expected to take road trips this year.
We are joined by Matt McClain from GasBuddy to talk all things about the busy travel season and what we can expect. Matt, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Good morning.
Hey guys, good morning. How's it going?
Listen, we're good. We're 29 minutes from kicking off our holiday weekend for a lot of folks, and we're going to get to join the potentially, 2 million other North Carolinians that are all planning to get out of Dodge in the next 24 hours. What are you hearing, Matt?
You know, I'm hearing the gas prices are on their way down. In fact, we can confirm that. And I know that in North Carolina, you've seen an uptick over the past week. But remember, we've got a ceasefire in place from Iran and Israel, and that is sending some heavy pressure on crude oil and wholesale gasoline prices. They have been dropping like a rock all week. In fact, crude oil dropping the most that it has dropped in probably 2 years within a 1 week span. We're going to be seeing prices fall, and we're going to keep seeing them fall throughout next week. It's nothing but good news for motorists. I cannot complain in any way, shape, or form. So as far as your holiday travels goes, maybe you've got a little extra money to buy a candy bar or something along those lines at the convenience store that you thought you were going to be putting in the tank instead.
You know, Matt, we've really seen some pretty immediate responses to news coming out of the Middle East from a fragile ceasefire right after the attacks. And we understand, too, that the gasoline that we were putting in our cars, that's been here. That's been on U.S. soil for a while, not necessarily the crude oil that is still overseas. How much are you seeing necessarily as far as timing on these crude oil prices and how that relates to our wallets?
So it's a great question, keeping in mind that a lot of the oil supply in the United States comes from either domestic production produced right here in the U.S. or from our friends in Canada or Mexico. Taking, for example, in the Midwest and the northeastern part of the country, a lot of the oil for the oil refineries there comes from Canada. So when it comes to the local price at the pump and how long it's going to take to filter down, it's actually more of a local situation. What I mean by that is gas stations along the way, they've paid a higher price point for the gasoline that's sitting in their massive tanks that whenever we pull up to a pump, we draw from. So really, you have to kind of cycle through the local gasoline supply and kind of roll through that before you'll see prices go down. But don't fret on that, because usually gas stations don't really keep more than a 3 to 4 day supply max in their gas tanks, those massive things underground. And so you'll eventually start seeing that price cycling down really in the coming days, probably as soon as even tomorrow on in through Sunday.
Matt, as a dad of 4 girls, right?
Oh, boy.
Anytime we take a road trip, oh boy is right. It's memorable to say the least. I can never sync up bladders. We're stopping at every other exit. So let's say we're going on a 10-hour road trip, as a lot of people are doing this weekend. I'm always looking for best ways to either save on gas, to try not to spend as much. Let's put the windows down and maybe not have the air cranked up all the time down to 60 degrees. What are some things that you have heard of, or some ways that we can try to stretch our penny a little further when it comes to gas and road trips?
Well, I'm a dad of a 16-year-old son, so it's not quite the same. But what I can tell you is this: before you start going on a journey, make sure that you've got your tires properly inflated, all the regular maintenance stuff going on. That means oil changes, air filters, all of the different types of stuff that can have a little bit of an impact on your fuel efficiency. One other thing that's great to use on stuff like this: cruise control. That lead foot, boy, that can actually cost you when it comes to the amount of fuel that your car is going to go through. If you allow cruise control where it's proper to use on the trips and the interstates, that could actually save you 3-4% on that particular tank of gas, which is nothing but good news. And especially, like you said, you got a 10-hour trip, you're going to be filling up a couple of times. So that can add up to quite a bit of savings as you're making your way to and from Charlotte and the greater Charlotte area.
Now, as these prices are going down, what are you guys seeing research-wise as far as the demand for these road trips? Are we seeing a little bit of a road trip revival almost?
I wouldn't say that we're at that point yet, because keeping in mind just 4 or 5 days ago, we were actually concerned that prices were going to be going up as we were heading into the weekend. So it's still in the process. Those price points at the pump are still in the process of coming down, and we're kind of looking at that aspect. So you might actually see some Americans and some North Carolinians deciding at last minute, hey, gas prices are coming down, let's go do something this weekend. Or there's a ceasefire, we don't have to worry about so much this weekend. There's a lot of anxiety that now no longer exists, at least for the time being. And so that may actually end up being the case. But as far as data, really hard-driven fact, not quite seeing it yet, but we're only 3-4 days out.
Well, we know the Transportation Secretary trying to push the great American road trip on Americans. We'll see if that plays out. Matt, a pleasure to have you on our show. Thanks for telling us everything we need to know for the 4th holiday.
Absolutely. Happy holidays, guys.
You
Likewise.
too.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.